Hey guys, welcome to the Prep and Preacher channel. I'm Brother Tim. I'm so glad you're here and I hope God's truly blessing you. Hey, got a news flash for you. They found another variant. Well, I guess Omicron wasn't bad enough for them, so they had to find another one. So let's take a look. As I said, this is the Prep and Preacher channel. I'm Brother Tim. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope God's truly blessed you. I really do. Now, if it's your first time with us, man, do not hit that subscribe button because I want you to understand what we stand for. We are pro-God. That means we stand on the rock, and his name is Jesus Christ, and we'll talk about our Lord in some of these videos. We're also pro-family, and along with that goes pro-life. We do not support the murdering of innocent babies. It is an offense against the holy God. It's murder. We're also pro-Second Amendment. That means we support the right of American citizens to own and bear firearms and things that go bang, things that mess y'all up and scare y'all all the time. All right, we're also pro-military and pro-police. No excuses there. Okay, we support our police, we support our military, and thank you and God bless you for standing in the gap to afford us the freedoms that we have today. We are also pro-veterans, of which I am one. Hooah! Now, if you don't like any of that, well, I say it, and I'm going to keep saying it. Hit the road, Skippy, before the road hits you. We don't need you up in here wasting your time and my time, man. Go over in the corner with your man bun and your skinny jeans, like I've said before. Get your soy latte with a double shot of espresso and just have a ball. Because we're going to talk about some stuff that's important right now that's going on. And that is, they found a new variant. Now, here is an article from Business Insider India that came up on my radar, and they've got a new variant, and it's in France. Now, what's funny is that we're not seeing a report of it yet, but they've got a new variant, and they said this one could be worse. It could be stronger than the Omicron that's going around. Well, of course it has to be, okay? Again, they believe in not letting any crisis, and whether imagined or real, go to waste. And that's what they're trying to do. The Omicron didn't do what they wanted it to do, to shut the world down. And it says in this article, and I'll put it up there for you, scientists and experts in France have reportedly identified this new variant of COVID-19. They've termed it the IHU, okay? Not I hate you, but IHU. The new variant is said to be a more mutated strain of the Omicron. Nearly 12 cases of this new variant. That's all there is right now. It had been reported near Marseilles and has been linked to the African country of Cameroon. Okay, so it's coming up out of Africa. Similar, we had where it was South Africa, where the Omicron was first reported. So this is a mutated version, which is what viruses do. Okay, it does that. Usually they're lighter as they mutate. If you go back and check history, like the Spanish flu, all right? It lasted about 3 years, and there was about 3 waves to it, okay? And so we're getting there now, but they don't want to lose control. And so I started looking at what other countries are doing, what they have right now, currently, and it'll blow your mind. See, America is the last bastion of freedom and liberty. Whether you believe it or not, we are the last stop for freedom and liberty. So let's take a look at what some of the other countries are doing. Now, Canada, the Canadian government has become, the only way I can put it, a crap show. They have got bans now on the unvaxxed people from all public transportation, everything. No Canadian home can entertain more than 3 visitors. I don't know what happened to our neighbor to the north, but they've allowed this to happen. There's other things going on that are totally an offense against God that the Canadian government has let happen. So Canada, man, what a mess. Europe. Now, we saw last summer, Europe introduced the COVID-19 pass. You had to have this to enter any cafe or bar or restaurant and long-distance transportation. You would have thought that Europe would want nothing to do with the authorities using a phrase like, your papers, please. I guess they've forgotten. What about the Netherlands? Another crap show. until supposedly the 14th of this month. They may move it out. That's January of 2022. They must, their citizens must stay at home, no more than 2 visitors per day, no more than 2 people allowed together outside. All restaurants, bars, and what they deem non-essential businesses are closed. Now, these draconian measures there in the Netherlands, they were met with some resistance. And I'll put it up here and show you what's going on. In Amsterdam this past weekend, thousands came out to protest what was going on. They were met with the police, and water cannons and dogs were turned loose on the people. Okay, it's a mess. The Netherlands are a mess. Okay, what about France? All right, France. Now, they had a health pass last summer also, and show just like the EU did, showing that they were either vaxxed or had been tested negative in the last 24 hours. They were allowed to enter the businesses only if they had that pass. All right, anyone over 11 was mandated to wear a mask or they would be fined. Next week, they're requiring their citizens to work at home. All right, that's, if possible, but they can work at home. And there's no eating and drinking in public. And the schools, all kids age 6 and up are to wear a mask, not only inside the building, but also outside. Boy, that's going to make recess something strange, isn't it? So here they are. They're putting more limitations on their people. France, the people that sent us the Statue of Liberty do not know what liberty is anymore. All right, Austria. Not much different than the Netherlands here. Almost a third of the population have not been allowed to be out of their homes since the 22nd of December. And that's not the worst. All right, they are making the vaccine mandatory starting February 1st. All right, unvaxxed will be fined €200 every month if they don't get it. Not only that, it will be increased. That fine will be increased if they're caught outside of their home. And we're seeing just total lockdowns of them. Australia, all right, our friends down under. Australia's been pretty much under house arrest since 2021. Sydney just came out of a 3-month lockdown in November. Melbourne was locked down for 260 days. 2/3 of the year they were locked down. They were not allowed to travel over 5 kilometers from their home. Schools are still closed. All shops, bars, and restaurants remain closed. How about New Zealand? All right, I love what their prime minister said. She's a nut. Unless you hear it from the government, it is not true. Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're going to take your word for it. She's such a nut. They had 1 case of Delta, and she locked down the whole country. I think even CNN made fun of them on that. All right, but New Zealand, man, same deal. Germany. In December now, we heard Germany announce that the unvaxxed would be locked down. That meaning they cannot go to restaurants, to bars, movie theaters, gyms, non-essential shops, and can only pick up their groceries at the grocery store. Last reported, there were over 250,000 unvaxxed there in Germany, and it's probably more. And now Germany is going to be following Austria, is what we hear, with more additional fines if you're not vaccinated. United Kingdom, Scotland, no fans at sporting events. Wow. Masks must be worn inside or out. All right, and you have to have a health pass to enter most venues. What about Wales? Okay, in the UK. Well, they are going even further, only allowing 6 people in a bar, a cinema, or a restaurant at a time. I don't know if that counts the staff too, but all nightclubs were closed this past week, and a mandatory 6 feet of distance in offices from people. Work at home order is to all if it's available to them. Now, England, not as bad as Wales or Scotland, but you have to have another health pass to enter most public areas. Now, the United States, thank God we're still standing. And thank God for our forefathers taming the federal power with the provision of states' rights. We are the last great bastion of freedom in this world. I know it's not what it used to be, but it's better than anywhere else in the world, and don't you ever forget it. At least half of this country are still standing for liberty and freedom. That other half, they would be content to live as little worker bees or as drones under a tyrannical government, as we've seen how the Canadian and the Austrians already have in a whole. Now, I know there's some holdouts, and praise God over there in these other countries that are holding out and standing up for freedom and liberty, but I believe you're fighting a losing battle. But here in America, we're not. Over half of us have said no more. But, we are Americans. We are not comrades, okay? And so we are going to stand in the gap. We must continue to say no to these unlawful mandates, to these orders that are coming from bureaucrats that are not from our elected officials. This is the duty of every American who loves and cherishes liberty and freedom. Until you've been to some of those countries and seen where there is no liberty, where there is no freedom, I don't think you comprehend the blessing that we have being born here in the United States of America. But I'm telling you that if we don't start being more vocal about it, and I know they're trying to shut down our First Amendment. Every time you turn around, they're trying to shut it down. The truth has died. Okay, the truth has died. They won't allow for a healthy debate. See, that's the thing. Used to, back in the day, when like the Hale-Bopp comment and all that, that nut would talk about that it was going to be the end of the world. Well, we looked at him as a nut, okay, and we went on past him. But now, if I say something that might offend your feelings, well, then I get banned, okay? I get canceled out. We've seen a president, we've seen people in Congress be canceled out because somebody didn't like what they said. And by the way, who are these people that are watching this and that are censoring this? I'm telling you, the censorship will catch up with you one day. Okay, it will not just stop with the conservatives that are talking. It's going to get everybody. Where is the ACLU at now when people are getting shut down for voicing their opinion? This America, though, I know it's gone bad, but it can turn around. It can turn around. So what can we do? First thing, pray. I know that sounds funny, but that's the number one thing we should be doing, is praying that God will shed his wisdom on some of our leaders. He has on some of the governors. We've seen them where they've stood up and said no more with the states' rights. But we need more standing up and saying no more. Pray for those leaders. Pray for your governors that are standing in the gap. Okay? Pray for your congressmen that are standing in the gap. All right? Continue to voice your opinion. It doesn't matter if you don't think it counts, because it does. Keep voicing your opinion. Man, take a lesson from that other side. Make some noise. Make some noise. Guys, I just had to come on here. This thing will probably get shut off, but I've had enough. America is the greatest country in the world. Don't you ever forget it. And it has been made great by the blood of patriots that have died for it. We must never forget. We must also honor them by continuing to stand in that gap for freedom and for liberty. Guys, until I see you again, I'm praying God may richly bless you and that you'll continue to stand in the gap. This is the Prepping Preacher, guys. I'm out of here.